If you have ever been called over emotional, over dramatic, over exaggerating, too much, or anything of the sort, welcome. Welcome. Same. Same. And I recognize that it has created such a toxic pattern in my life that has affected all of my relationships with others, but also my relationship with myself. This pattern has been coming up over and over again, and I have been conquering it little by little over time as I've grown, as I've matured, as I've started to uproot all of my traumas. But it triggered recently and I noticed it and I was able to catch it. And I thought to myself, if I'm going through this, even as emotionally aware, even as wise, even as mature, emotionally mature as I believe that I am, emotionally intelligent as I believe that I am, I still get triggered by this. It still comes up within me. And I know if it comes up within me, it must come up within other women. So, I had to get on here and educate you and talk to you about how in the hell we are going to overcome this together. So I want to spend this video talking about where did it come from? Why do we even go as far as invalidating ourselves? How does it show up in our lives, in our relationships? And what's the mindset shift that we can undergo? How can we begin to truly uproot this and see it for what it is? Because I'm telling you right now that this is a super power. If you have ever been called too much, overly sensitive, over dramatic, whatever it is because you have a superpower that nobody understands. But I understand. And that is why I'm about to explain it to you and free you from this mental prison that you have likely been under, like me. Okay? So I'm speaking from experience here. I'm so excited to set you free. If you do not know who I am, my name is Nia Love. It's not Naya. It's not Benia. Because I know that people see my Instagram name as by Nia. It's by Nia Love. Like this story is by Nia Love. But people call me Benia all the time. Or Naya. It's Nia. Welcome. My name is Nia Love, and I create content for women regarding relationships, marriage. I'm happily married to the love of my life, and I am mentally free in a lot of ways, and I'm abundant, emotionally free in a lot of ways that women do not get to experience. And I know because I see y'all, I hear y'all are in my comments, y'all are in my DMs, y'all are in my day-to-day waking life, and I hear so many stories about women who are just trapped by their own traumas, by their own negative self-beliefs, but also by these toxic ass relationships that you keep finding yourself in because of these negative beliefs. So I'm here to help you uproot them. So if you ain't subscribed, subscribe. Welcome to the family. But let me get a sip of water once again because I'm already drying out. So let's get into it. So where does this mentality come from? So I don't know about you guys, but I learned from a very young age that I was not like everybody else. I experienced life and my emotions and my inner world very differently than I gathered from the people around me. And I remember very clearly in the third grade when I stepped into consciousness. And this is going to sound so crazy, but I remember very clearly in the third grade when I stepped into consciousness. And it was a day where I just started crying. Like I just cried uncontrollably out of nowhere for seemingly no reason. But it seems like from that day on, my life changed forever. And that day, my mom and her ex-boyfriend that she was with majority of my childhood, they didn't know what to do. They were completely confused. And from here on out, they had a child that was very emotionally in tune, very sensitive to emotions, and would find myself crying, having anxiety, stuff like that going on, and they did not know how to deal with it. And if you grow up in a household as a sensitive human being with people who do not understand their emotions, who have spent a lifetime suppressing and overlooking and validating their own emotions, guess what they're going to do to you? So if you are like me, then you have likely run into a lot of situations where it was between family members, people who you thought were your friends, or people who you thought were good partners and who, I mean, I'm not saying that they did not care about you, but that they did not have the capacity for you. And because they did not have the capacity for you, they tried to stifle you and make you appear smaller and more digestible for their own comfort. Now, I want to reiterate this to you. The reason why you have been called too much, the reason why you have been called overdramatic, the reason why you have been called overly sensitive is because you have been surrounded by people who did not have the capacity for you, people who did not understand their own emotions, people who have been told that they are too much and that their emotions are too much, and therefore they have spent their lives stifling themselves. I think about my mother. For example, your mother is supposed to be the person that's really supposed to nurture your emotions, nurture your sensitive side. However, if you have a mother that is tapped into her masculine, a mother who has been told that emotions are weakness, sensitivity are weakness. My mother grew up with two older brothers. And because of that, they ingrained in her brain that she's not supposed to cry, that the only person that she has in this world is herself, and she has to stand up for herself. She's not allowed to be sensitive, or else she will be ran over. She will be taken advantage of. She will be considered weak. It was a survival mechanism, right? So a lot of us women have been ingrained in our brain that our sensitivity is weakness, and we have been told to get rid of it or to stifle it because of a survival tactic. Okay. Sorry, y'all. I don't know why I'm feeling very draining today. I hope I'm not getting sick. Oh my God, please. But anyway, they were told as a survival tactic that they had to stifle this part of themselves, and that's why they did the same thing to you. Some people saw it as a means of trying to protect you. So don't get too mad at your loved ones, okay, for doing this to you. They are simply doing what they felt, what they thought was best. Now, that is some people. There are other people who simply don't know how to handle you. And therefore, they try to make you smaller or make you seem like you cannot handle yourself, make you seem like you are too overly emotionally dependent on them, which I'm not saying that cannot be the case, right? You might be. However, all relationships, especially romantic relationships, have some type of emotional interdependency, right? I am not dependent on my husband for emotional safety, but because he is my partner, he provides emotional safety for me. And sometimes partners just do not have the emotional intelligence, the capacity, the wherewithal to understand what it is like to create emotional safety for a sensitive partner. So they will try to make you less in order to compensate for the fact that they do not have the tools. They do not have the tools to be a great partner for you. So they try to make you an easier partner to deal with. Now, this is how we end up in a lot of situations, and I will get into this deeper. This is how we end up in a lot of situations with partners that are not good partners for us. So, especially as super sensitive and super tapped in women, we have to have partners that are emotionally available, or at least emotionally available enough to learn. Emotionally available enough to learn. So if you have a partner that is not emotionally available and is also stubborn in their ignorance, it's not going to go well for you. Because at the end of the day, us sensitive creatures, us sensitive beings, we are very unique. And therefore, we need a partner that is able to embrace our uniqueness and learn us over time. Okay? Especially in the Black community, a lot of Black men are not taught to create space for a sensitive woman. Therefore, we have to create space for ourselves in order to teach them. And this is why it is so important that we do not invalidate ourselves. So, my lady, you have likely been told your entire life that you are too much in your relationships, in your family, in whatever it is, and now you are in a place where it is affecting you. It is affecting you negatively in your day-to-day waking life, but also in your romantic relationship. So let's talk about how this is really ruining your relationships right now. And it's not because you are sensitive, it is because of the way that you view your sensitivity. Let's get into it. Let me get a sip. I'm about to set you free, girl. I'm about to set you free. Because I understand. I understand what it is like to invalidate yourself. So, what does that look like? In relationships, let me speak for myself and hopefully you can relate. But in relationships, I had a tendency to minimize my own pain and to minimize my own boundaries, to minimize my own feelings, which are literally the thing that your discernment is attached to. If you invalidate and minimize your own feelings and your own human experience in your relationships, you will weaken your discernment. And that is why I always ended up in relationships with men that were not good for me and friendships with women that were not good for me. Okay? Because I weakened my own discernment by invalidating my experience. What does it look like to invalidate your experience? It looks like when someone hurts you, when they bully you, when they abuse you, whatever it is, they do something to hurt you. And they gaslight you into believing that you are just making a big deal out of nothing. And because you are so used to invalidating your own feelings, you convince yourself that, yeah, I am making a big deal out of this. I am making a big deal out of it that she's calling me all of these names. I am making a big deal out of it that he put his hands on me. I am making a big deal out of it that he's not giving me enough attention, that he's not texting me back, that he's not taking me out on dates. I am making a big deal out of the fact that he's talking to other women, that he's cheating on me, that he's not giving me what I want. I am making a big deal out of the fact that she's not being a good friend to me, that she's putting her own feelings and invalidating mine, that she is not paying attention to how I feel nor taking me into consideration. That is what be going through our minds. Even though people are doing things that are causing us pain, that are overstepping our boundaries, we invalidate our own experience, and that's why we continue to enable them to treat us poorly. I don't know. I've said this a million times about how I was in an abusive relationship, right? And this was constantly, constantly. It's like his feelings, his pain, and his experience mattered more than mine. And because we are overly sensitive, we have a tendency to put other people's feelings before our own. We validate other people's experience, other people's truth and point of view and feelings more so than we validate our own because we are super sensitive, meaning we are super empathetic. We can empathize with others. We can easily put ourselves into others' shoes because we have the capacity to feel the way that they feel. Because we are so sensitive to our own emotions, we are also sensitive to the emotions of others. And I will get into that later and how that is a superpower, but it can also be a weakness if we do not understand it. It can be a weakness because people can use that as a way for us to turn on ourselves, for a way for us to put them above us. So, for example, one thing that my abusive ex used to do is that even when I was anxious, even when I was upset, he would turn it on to himself like, look what you're making me do to you. Look at what your sensitivity. It wasn't until I met you that all of this anger came out of me. It's because of you being so emotional, being so much, that you brought this anger out of me. The thing is that as an overly sensitive person, people will try to make their feelings, people who are not emotionally aware, people who are not emotionally intelligent, they will try to make their feelings about you. I'm going to say that again because you really need to hear me, because I am sure that you have gone through this as well. People who are not emotionally intelligent and who are not emotionally aware, because you are empathetic, because you are a sensitive human being, because you are in tune with your emotions, they will try to make their feelings about you. They will try to blame you for how they feel. It is your fault I feel this way. Therefore, you have to fix you in order to fix the way I feel about you. And this will turn into a cycle. This will turn into a trap where you are constantly stifling and validating how you feel in order to make somebody else feel better. Where you are not speaking your truth about your perspective, about your human experience, because of how it will make others feel. Y'all, this is coming from a content creator who I put all of my business, all of my deepest insecurities. I tell my most traumatic stories. I open up about the darkest places within myself to the world. And I endure people doing this to me in my comments every single day. Every single day, where they try to tell me about myself, about my relationship, about my feelings. They try to invalidate my experience, my feelings, and my perspective simply because the way that I feel and the way that I think triggered a feeling that they don't like within themselves. When you are sensitive, when you are an empathetic person, you are a mirror. Okay? You are a mirror. When you live in your truth, when you live in your truth about how you deeply feel and about your perspective, it forces other people to look at themselves, at their insecurities, at their feelings that are uncomfortable for them. And because it is uncomfortable for them, they will try to make you small. This is some good stuff. I have to validate myself in that I'm spitting that game because I'm speaking deeply to myself right now. So I know I'm speaking to you. I know it. So this is why you continuously find yourself in situations that do not serve you, situations that are draining you of your emotional energy. And it's because you are neglecting yourself. You are neglecting yourself. Let me teach you something about people, right? And I say this with the most love, and I say this very matter of factly. This isn't negative, right? This isn't a negative belief. It is something that is going to free you, even though it may sound negative on the front end. Let me explain. People are inherently selfish. Okay? People are inherently selfish, meaning they are going to put their experience before yours, especially if they are not super sensitive and they are not super empathetic like you are. Sometimes people are not going to take you into consideration, not because they don't care about you, but because of two things. Either one, they are not emotionally intelligent or aware enough to naturally take you into consideration, or two, they simply do not know how. Because you have gone through a phase of invalidating yourself and stifling yourself, you likely do not communicate how you truly feel. You likely do not communicate what you truly want. And you likely do not communicate your full truth. And because you do not communicate, others cannot assume how you feel. They cannot assume what you want. Therefore, they just go along with what is best for them, assuming that eventually, and if you have a problem with it, you would come to them and you would tell them. That is the whole point of having boundaries. If you do not have boundaries in place, if you do not communicate your boundaries, how can you expect others to abide by them? But the reason why you do not communicate how you feel and the reason why you do not communicate your boundaries is because you are so used to minimizing your own experience for other people's emotions, for other people's comfort. But let me tell you about other people. If you do not put you first, if you do not consider yourself, your feelings, and your experience, others are not going to consider you. If you invalidate yourself, others will invalidate you too. If you minimize yourself, others will minimize you too. Yes. And this is why I'm about to get into what we need to do. What is the mindset shift that is going to improve our relationships, that is going to set us free, that is going to increase our discernment and our intuition, that is going to help us tap into this sensitivity as a superpower and not the thing that is destroying our relationships today. Okay? Gotta stay hydrated, bro. Like, this drying me out. Itchy. Okay. So, what is the mindset shift here? First, baby girl, you got to validate yourself. You have to validate yourself, even when nobody validates you. Even when nobody validates you, you have to understand within yourself that your emotions are important. Your perspective, your experience, your pain, your trauma is important. And I understand for years people have tried to make you believe otherwise because they did not have the capacity, because they could not handle you, because they were ignorant. Respectfully, fuck them. Okay? Respectfully, fuck them. You are valid. Your feelings are just as valid as anybody else's. You are empathetic. And so you are quick to validate everybody else before you validate yourself. So why are you not also worthy of that same validation? Why are you not worthy of being seen just like other people are? And I understand not everybody has the capacity to see you. And therefore, you have to make them see. And I'm not saying force somebody to do something that you don't want to do. You make them see you by being seen. Let me say that again. You make people see you by being seen. And sometimes Some people are not going to be able to see you even when you make yourself be seen. And that's how you know that these are the people that you stay the fuck away from. Okay? That's where that discernment kicks in. If you show yourself, if you are vulnerable about how you truly feel, about how you truly think, about what you've gone through, about your experience, if you are vulnerable, if you are open, if you communicate, and they still choose to not see you, they still choose to not try to understand despite their lack of understanding, despite their ignorance. If they do not ask questions to understand and to see you, that is how you know that they are not the right person for you in your life, whether that be a family member, an acquaintance, a friend, a relationship. That is how you know. I just increase your discernment tenfold. Because that's exactly what it did to mine. When I started to show up authentically as myself, that is when I recognized who is a good fit for me and who is not. And I know, as someone who has been labeled overly sensitive, over dramatic, and as too much, you likely have abandonment issues. Oh, I just said something that just smacked a few people in the face. You likely have abandonment issues. You are afraid that if you are too much, if you feel too much, if you show too much sensitivity, that you will be abandoned. That the people that you love will run away from you. They will leave you alone. And being abandoned is a terrifying feeling. But let me tell you something. No one can abandon you worse than you can abandon yourself. No one can abandon you worse than you can abandon yourself. So every time that you minimize yourself, that you overlook how you're feeling, that you're like, oh, I mean, they hurt me, but it's nothing. They called me this. They labeled me as this, but it's nothing. Do you hear that? There is pain behind that. There are feelings. There's truth behind that. But because you are invalidating yourself, because you are afraid of getting abandoned, you will have the only type of people and relationships you will have in your life are people that treat you like you are less than what you actually are. Yep. But coming from a woman who is married to a man that has the emotional capacity, that creates space for me, that sees me, that allows me to feel even when my feelings may appear so over dramatic and overly sensitive and too much for other people, he sees me. He has created such an emotional safety for me in order for me to heal. He has created such a safe environment for me where I can speak my most vulnerable thoughts, feelings, traumas. And he doesn't bat an eye because he's not afraid. He's not intimidated. I want you to look at your relationships right now with the people that are closest to you. Think about the 5 people that are closest to you right now. Do they do the same for you? Do they create emotional safety for you? Do they make you feel seen, heard, understood, and appreciated regardless of what you throw at them? Regardless, no matter how small it may seem. Do they honor your feelings? Do they honor you? If not, then I suggest that you take that as a sign that you do not honor yourself. And I say that with so much love. I say that with so much love. Because if I do not point out the problem here, then we'll never get to the solution. But the reason why you find yourself in situations where people do not honor how you feel is because you do not honor yourself. And because you do not honor yourself, you do not communicate. You are not vulnerable with how you actually feel and what you actually think. But when you start being yourself, when you realize nobody can abandon me, when you realize me making myself small, me invalidating myself, me not communicating how I truly feel, me not honoring my emotions, that is self-abandonment. That is self-abandonment. You are afraid of being abandoned by others, so you abandon yourself. I would rather be alone. And I know being alone is scary, but let me tell you something about life. When you face your fears and you jump into the deep end, that is when you recognize that you can swim. I'm going to say that again. When you face your fears and you jump into the deep end, that is when you recognize that you can swim. When you do the thing that you are afraid to do because you are afraid of a certain outcome. So, for example, you are in a relationship with a man that does not honor your emotions. He does not see you. He does not feel you. Even when you try to communicate the way that you feel, he invalidates you. He does not try to understand you. I know that you are afraid of leaving that relationship. You are afraid of opening up. You are afraid of being vulnerable. You are afraid of being truly 100% yourself in all of your sensitive glory. Because you are afraid that no man is going to deal with that. So you stay with a man that does not have the capacity for you. So jumping into the deep end would look like leaving that relationship and showing up to the world as authentic and vulnerable, crying, sharing your anger, sharing your frustrations. When something rubs you the wrong way, you let them know from the jump. When someone hurts you, you do not let them bypass it. You do not let them gaslight you. You call attention to it and you respect the way that you feel. You respect your boundaries and you put your foot down. You learning how to swim means that you will naturally attract. You will naturally attract somebody with the capacity. Let me tell you something about my husband and something that he did. So my husband's name is Jamal, if you did not know. When Jamal and I dated the first time, okay? And me saying this gonna make, please don't hate him, y'all. He was ignorant. He was ignorant. He was not emotionally intelligent. He did not have the capacity, especially in the first time that we dated. And because I invalidated myself in my own experience, he thought that that was okay. Let me explain. The first time we dated, Jamal broke up with me. Okay. And when he broke up with me, he blamed me. Once again, do not hate him. He was just doing what he thought what was the right thing. Once again, people are inherently selfish. They're going to put their feelings about you. They're going to make their feelings about you your responsibility because they do not know any better. Okay? And because I allowed him to do that, he thought that that was okay. But when he broke up with me the first time, he blamed it on my oversensitivity. He blamed it on my trauma and the fact that I was not healed and the fact that I was too much. Okay? And because I did not understand myself, because I was not honest with myself about how I truly feel and honored my perspective and my truth, and my perspective and my truth was that I'm not too much for being myself. He just doesn't have the capacity. He just doesn't have the wisdom and the knowledge. He does not have the tools. That is my truth. But because I had a habit of invalidating my own truth, I chased him. I chased him. And because I chased him, he ran further and further away. He became less and less and less of the man that I wanted him to be. Right? He continued to believe that it was okay for him to invalidate me, for him to see me as too much, because I'm the one that's trying to change myself for him. So I am telling him indirectly that I also see my sensitivity as a problem, which is abandoning myself. I was so afraid of being abandoned by him that I abandoned myself. Now, let me show you the shift. Okay. So eventually, I stopped chasing him. And I was just like, fuck this. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this anymore. It is what it is. And I left that relationship. Well, I mean, he left the relationship, but I stopped trying officially. It took me like a couple months to officially stop trying. Okay. So when I officially stopped trying, I went on my own healing journey of learning how to honor myself, of listening to myself, seeing my emotions as parts of me, a part of me that deserves to be honored and deserves to be respected. I improved my own self-confidence and my self-love. That's what it looks like to love yourself. And I always tell people, even when I did not love myself, I acted like it. So if you are someone who's like, oh, but how do you love yourself? How do you honor yourself? Act like it. When your feelings come up, don't ignore them. When you are dating, be vulnerable. If they have an issue with that, fuck them. Do you know how many men I dated in my single season that tried to make me feel like I was too much? And that's the thing about God. And for those who do not know me, God, when I say God, I'm not meaning in the religious sense. I'm extremely spiritual. I'm not associated with any religion, okay? But God is God to you and whatever you believe God to be, the divine, right? But the thing about God is when you are trying to grow and heal yourself in certain areas, it, he, she, they will give you opportunities to practice, to see if you are truly about it, to see if you are truly committed to honoring yourself, to loving yourself, to the journey of healing. So when you start acting like you love yourself in order to eventually love yourself, you will be given situations to be tested where you have to practice the act of loving yourself, even if you do not feel like you love yourself. So when I was dating, I kept running into men who kept trying to, you're being too much. You're over exaggerating. Like them not giving me enough attention and me calling attention to it like, hey, you don't text me. And I don't like that. You don't talk to me as often as I would like. And I don't like that. I feel like you're not being honest with me right now. And I would like that. I am being vulnerable with you. I would love it if you were vulnerable with me. And they run or they gaslight you. They're like, nah, I'm not, no, I'm just going through a lot right now. And they try to make it about them, make their feelings more important than yours. Okay? That's how I knew that they're not the man for me. And that's why these dating experiences, they didn't last months. They lasted a week, a few days. Because I honor myself, and because I validate my own emotions, and because I listen to how I feel, I also can see when a man does not make me feel how I want to feel. When his actions, the type of man that he is, does not make me feel safe, does not make me feel seen, does not make me feel understood and validated. Because I am used to seeing myself. I am used to understanding and validating myself. So I can tell when they're not treating me how I treat me. That's the key. That's the key right there. You have to treat you how you want men to treat you. So let me tell you. So when I was dating, that's how I was able to discern really quickly if a man was for me or not for me. That right there. Now, when Jamal came back into my life a year later, when he stepped back in, once again, even though he had become more mature, Jamal did not have a woman to teach him emotional intelligence, how to have emotional safety, how to build emotional safety, and how to have the capacity. He did not have that, so he was ignorant. So do not blame him right now. He's still moving out of ignorance, but it is what he did with his ignorance that showed me that he was the one, that he was a good partner for me. So when he came back into my life, he was on some, I just want to be friends type stuff. And I want to fill it out. Because from his perspective, I still wasn't healed. I still wasn't whole, which in a way, he was valid within that because I did have a lot of healing to undergo. However, healing did not look like how he expected it to look for me. Healing to him looked like I wasn't as emotional anymore. I wasn't as needy, quote unquote, anymore. But that's not what healing looked like to me. If anything, I was even more sensitive, even more needy. Because now I understand and I validate how I feel. So you got to come with it. You got to do the same thing, which requires more work out of the man. And if he's not willing to put in that work, that's how you know he's not the one for you. So he was on some friend type stuff, right? And I was cool with it for a while because we were still getting to know each other. We were still dating and learning each other all over again. But after a few months of that, I got to a place where I was like, I'm not feeling it. Me being friends with you when I know that I don't want to be friends with you is causing confusion within me. It's causing anxiety within me. I'm feeling all different types of emotions right now, and they don't feel good. I'm going to work anxious. I'm going to sleep with it on my mind. It is causing chaos within me. And if I did not validate my own emotions, if I continued to go with what he said, which is, well, I just want to be in my friend era right now. I just want to focus on myself right now. That's just what I want to do. And I continued to validate his experience and his emotions more than the chaos that I was in. I would have just kept going along with it and continuing to feel like crap within myself. Okay. But here's what I did instead. Let me get some water. Here's what I did instead. I told him, look, This is how I feel. So this is the boundary that I'm going to make. I feel chaos. I don't like being your friend. I want something more. So my boundary is you need to stay away from me. I don't want to be your friend. I care more about my feelings and validating myself just the way that you care about your feelings. I care about mine. So if you cannot abide by my boundary, then you can go find somebody else who will accommodate to yours. And that's on period. So I walked away from Jamal. I want you to recognize when he came back, I walked away. And that's when he said, nah, you're worth it. You're worth it. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to grow. I'm willing to learn how to hold space for you, how to create safety for you, how to have the capacity for you. Do you think he would have come to that conclusion if I continued to invalidate myself, if I continued to allow him to have me without having the tools to be the best partner for me? He would have continued because he was getting what he wanted, even though I wasn't getting what I wanted. So I want to remind you that, babe, if you continue to invalidate your experience, so will everybody else. But once you begin to honor yourself, it will force people who want to be in your life to honor you too. So I know it may be scary to show up for yourself, to put down your boundaries, to be vulnerable, but I promise you, you think that that's going to lead people to abandoning you. And yes, the people that aren't right for you, they will walk away. They will remove themselves from your life, but that is only to make room for the people who are willing to learn. The people that are willing to learn. Okay. I really hope y'all got that point. It's been like 40 minutes, so I'm trying to. There's one more thing. I got on my soapbox and I felt that in my spirit. So if you're still here, I just want you to know, like, that was nothing but downloads from the divine. Like, I hope y'all receive that, and I hope y'all hear that, and I hope y'all feel that. I hope y'all feel that. But there's just one more thing that I got to get off that you have to understand about yourself because you are an overly sensitive person. This is what I want you to understand about this is a superpower. This is a superpower. If you do not know what an empath is, go look it up. If you have made it this far in the video and you relate to the stuff that I have been saying, go look up what an empath is. Go read books about it. Go research it. I mean, yes, that's, and I'm about to tell you what it is, but do your own research because there's only so much that I can teach you in this short amount of time. But when I recognized that I am an empath, everything made sense. Everything made sense. Being an empath is like having a supernatural spiritual ability. Now, going back to, I'm not religious. I am deeply spiritual. I feel like I personally have, I know that I have a very close, deep connection with God. And the reason why I know that is because I am able to tap into spiritual abilities that people who do not have a relationship with God cannot. When you are close to the divine, when you are close to the spiritual realm, you are able to tap and unlock a piece of your brain, unlock a sixth sense, okay, that can make life an even more amazing experience for you, that can lead you to having all of the relationships and the life that you desire for yourself. And the reality is that all of us have these abilities. They may not all look the same. There are all different types of empaths, right? So you figure out what type of empath you are. I'm an emotional empath. Okay? There are all different types of empaths. But when you recognize this, it will change your life forever. Let me tell you what an empath is. An empath has a sixth sense, an ability to spiritually feel. It's almost like an intuition, okay? And discern others. We can read energy very well. So it makes us incredible healers, because sometimes we can understand people better than they can understand themselves. Especially me as an emotional empath, I have the capacity to experience such a wide range of emotions. The way I like to explain it is that some people, especially men, masculine men, their emotions are like the 16, 12 pack of crayons that you buy from the dollar store, right? That's all, them the only colors that they got to work with, okay? That's their emotions. As an empath, I'm the 200, 128, whatever, the big pack, the one with the sharpener in the back. That's my emotions. And because I have such a wide range of colors to work with, I can see those colors in other people. I can see those emotions within other people, even when they cannot see it themselves. That is a superpower. So yes, we have been labeled oversensitive and overdramatic and too much, but it's because we have such a wide capacity that people who only have that 16 pack of crayons can only understand so much. They can only understand them 16 colors. So the other 100 and something colors, they look at those like too much. But on the other side, for you, if you understand that each one of those colors plays an important role and they are part of you and your human experience, then you will begin to see it in others. And you will be able to help others heal. So for example, if you get on a coaching call with me, okay, I always tell people I am not the relationship coach that is going to tell you what to do. I'm not here to give you advice on what to do about your relationship. I am here to be a mirror. Remember, I said that earlier. A mirror to show you exactly what is blocking you from having what you want. I am here to help you see yourself, to be a reflection of you. All I do is get on the call and I listen to you. I listen to you both with my ears, but with my sixth sense as well, my energy. I am able to read your energy and your emotions through what you are saying, what you are communicating to me. And through that, I am able to help you figure out what it is you're actually feeling, because what you're actually feeling points to what you actually want. And when you figure out what you actually want and what you're actually feeling, I'm also able to help you discern what it is that you're feeling that's blocking you from getting what you want. And the reason why I'm able to do that is because I've experienced those emotions within myself. I've experienced within myself, so I can see it within you. That is the superpower. That is how I am able to help others heal. Because I am able to see a part of them that other people have tried to make them stifle their entire lives, that they have stifled and invalidated within themselves. When you learn to validate yourselves, you teach others how to validate themselves, which sets them free. I I just hope you recognize how powerful you are. I really hope you recognize just how powerful you are. And if you don't know yet, act like it. Act like it. I have been telling you over this whole video how to show up as a woman who loves herself, that validates herself, that honors herself, that respects herself, that sees her superpowers. Even if you are not her yet, start acting like it. Put your foot down. Even when your feelings are scary, face them. Even when someone tries to gaslight you, hell no. And that does not mean invalidate what they're feeling. Two people can be valid at the same time. Two things can be true at the same time. Your truth and their truth can exist at the same time. The problem comes when they try to make you believe that they can't, where that only their truth matters, that only their feelings matter. Both of our feelings, both of our truths can matter at the same time. And as the overly sensitive person, as the hypersensitive person, you have to honor yourself and teach them that. Because they are less than, let me say that, because they feel less than, not because they are, because they feel like their emotions are less to work with than yours. Okay. They will make it seem like theirs are more important because they take less effort. Don't let them. You can honor their feelings and honor yours at the same time. Just like I honored Jamal, I understand that you want to be single. I understand that you want to be friends. I understand that you love my companionship, that you love my friendship. I love that for you. I love that you are getting everything that you want out of this situation. I respect that and I honor that you're doing what's best for you. And in that same token, I have to do what's best for me. I have to honor myself and my feelings. I don't want to be your friend. And because this is me and because I have to honor myself and protect myself, I'm not going to give you access to me if it means that I also don't get what I want. Why can't we both get what we want out of this situation? If you want me, then you have to make me want you as well. Which means you have to show up as the partner that I need. I'm showing up as the partner that you need. But only you can set that boundary. Only you can honor yourself and validate yourself in that way. So I'm going to end it, closing it out. If you truly want to be with someone that loves you and honors you and respects you, that sees you, that you can be 100% your vulnerable, sensitive, dramatic. And dramatic is not negative. Dramatic is great. Dramatic makes us great. We could be actresses. Okay. Like, if you want someone that sees that beauty within you, that sees it as a superpower within you, that creates safety for you to be all of who you are and all that you desire to be as a woman, your most powerful, tapped in, feminine self, then you gotta start treating yourself that way. You gotta start seeing yourself that way. That is when you will have everything. that you desire. Okay? I love you. If you need help on this journey, I got you. Okay? I'm about to knock that over. Do not forget to subscribe, leave comments, like, and all of those things. I love you. Peace. See you later.